Mama Selena for African Daisy, and it is Wednesday in the Word. I wanted to talk to you about marriage. This is probably, I don't know, the second person that I've heard this week that, either got divorced, leaving each other, all that. Now, it happens here in Kenya, I know that, but it's only becoming a thing more recently. It was not a thing to talk about it. I think this younger generation is a little bit quicker to just divorce each other. They want to change. They haven't seen, maybe I would say to some degree, maybe they haven't seen good marriages. Same in the States. Like, you have just a lot of people who they haven't seen good marriages, or there's this mentality. Oh my word. And we got to discuss this mentality. Okay. So this is what I heard. I heard someone actually wrote this. Okay. Someone that goes to church, they wrote this. They said, I've taken care of a lot of people. It's time to take care of myself. Where in the Bible does it say that? Where in the Bible does it say that? That is, Jesus gave his life. He was a perfect human being. And God, he was God, and he was perfectly God, perfectly human. And he did nothing wrong. Okay? But he laid down his life. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians 13, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not self-seeking. There's long suffering. That's one we don't like to talk about, isn't it? Long suffering. And we definitely don't think that we don't want to talk to it when it comes to my happiness. Well, I'm just not happy. Since when was marriage about happiness? You can be happy within your marriage, but happiness has to come from within. Happiness only comes from Jesus, I promise you. The joy of the Lord is our strength. The other thing is this. I really believe very strongly, and I'm going to say it. It doesn't matter what people, whether they like this or they don't like this. But I feel very strongly that there's a lot of unnecessary divorces, a lot of unnecessary things. Now, we cannot control anybody or manipulate anybody. We can only take care of ourselves, right? We can only do what God is telling us to do, right? But what I do believe is, let's say your spouse, is just like, I'm done with you. Like, I'm not interested. This is not working out. You're really struggling. My suggestion is pray. And the interesting thing is, most people say, well, you don't know what I'm going through. Yeah. Well, like some preacher said, the point is you're going through. You're not supposed to stay there. You're supposed to go through. So you might be going through things. We all go through things. And I kind of get annoyed when I hear that, because I know what my husband and I went through. We went through some things. It's not like there's no marriage that didn't go through things. There's not one. And maybe if you are that one, you just got married yesterday. But I will say this. I believe that the majority of us are not willing to put in and to pray for our spouse. So let's say the issue is the other spouse. It's obviously always two-sided. There's both sides have some issue, right? Okay. Because God got to deal with you too. So you got to decide, like, if you yourself, you got to be aware of what God is telling you to do to change, because it's not just the other person. As much as it's easy to point the finger, it's easy to say it's their fault, it's them, it's not me. But God requires me, for example, if I'm talking about my marriage, God requires me to do the right thing. God requires me to love. He requires me. The Bible says that love covers a multitude of sins. God requires me to pray. As a wife, I am required to pray. So if it's the wife, if the issue is the husband, the wife needs to pray. You need to get on your knees and pray. Okay? It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but you need to pray and ask God to change your heart, to work on you, to pray for your spouse, because maybe, just maybe, the issue is that he needs free. He needs set free. Maybe there's something going on there, and that without that prayer, he can't, that thing can't change, right? Or the other way. If the wife is the issue, the husband needs to get on his knees. I'm telling you, when you love somebody, you will pour yourself into them. The Bible says that we are to let no one put asunder what God has put together. Let no one. So let's say the other person is the one saying that they want to go, or they've decided to go. You pray. You don't ever agree with it. You just say, okay, I'm not going to agree with it. I won't sign anything, but I'll just pray. And you pray. This isn't about condemning anybody. This is about the majority of people that are struggling in their marriages today. I just want to give us a wake-up call, okay? I just want a wake-up call, because I believe that the majority of marriages are falling apart because, as a man, I don't have enough balls to stand up and pray for my family and ask God to help me. Or as a woman, I'm too lazy or I'm too emotional. It just doesn't feel good. So let's just recognize that God has a purpose and plan. The point of marriage is to be a example of Christ in the church. That's what it's supposed to be. And I'm telling you, sometimes we want to see instant. All of us. There's not one person who doesn't want to see instant things. But I want to just tell you something. If you're not willing to pray and put forth the effort, and sometimes we're like, God, why don't you just fix it, and da da da. But sometimes God is saying, yeah, but you got a problem, and I need to fix you. And he's more concerned about that. He's more concerned about our inside and fixing our inside. I get that. Than he is keeping us together. But the point is, there's no need to separate or divorce each other. It's sad that it happens. And if you're in that situation, and you've walked through that situation, then you know how painful it is. And this isn't about condemning anything. This is just the fact that the enemy is a liar, and we tend to run after. We look at the humans. The Bible says our fight is not against flesh and blood, but against powers, principalities, and powers that set themselves up against the knowledge of God. So when we start to recognize that our enemy is the devil himself, that our enemy is powers that are setting themselves up against God, then all of a sudden, instead of looking at flesh and blood, we see the enemy. And then you can take action. Because greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. So I just want to encourage us today. And no matter where you are in your marriage, maybe it's going really well, maybe you have little things here or there, pursue your marriage. Pray for your marriage. And especially when it's going well. Also when it's going well, pray for your spouse and yourself. That God will work within you, and that he will do his work within each one of you, so that you can be all that God has called you to be. Let me just say, this is my passion, to see marriages thrive, to see people live in good. Because the thing is this, there's a lot of people that I would even say are in marriages. They're together, they go to church together, they go to things together, but they are not in a good, the marriage itself isn't good. So just living, so I just want to encourage you to like, Jesus actually is powerful. He's the only powerful one. Let me just tell you, he's the only one that can change hearts. And he actually has something, the enemy has nothing. And he just wants to steal, kill, and destroy. And so let's not let the enemy win. Yeah, let's just not, okay? Let's not. So I love you all. I just want to encourage you in your marriage. It's kind of like a car. You need to maintain the car. Let me just tell you something. My husband is phenomenal at that. our car is maintained regularly. And I'm so proud of my husband. Let me just tell you, I never have to worry about this car. It is maintained regularly. And I just want to tell you something. It's like our marriage. It's like anything in life. It needs to be maintained. Our spiritual life, our marriage, it needs to be maintained regularly. Not wait until the whole car is falling apart and then the bill is like 12,000 or 150,000 here, you know, when you're talking about shillings. Why don't you just take care of it, right? So don't wait till your marriage falls apart to try to take care of it. If it's falling apart, get on your knees, because it works. If there's strongholds, if there's things that are going on that are not right, God is so good and He is faithful. And so I just want to encourage you that you can take a stand. And yes, I love you all. I hope that you're having a great week, and let's make our marriages work well. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.